wanyanzeleka walahla umandisi wahamba ohlala nokhehla uSenzo.
Senzo really required the approval from his parents.
New day, new drama in South Africa. According to new reports, another Senzo blood has been shot dead while battling for daughter's identity. Please like this video as you watch. A birth certificate that cost a life. Senzo seals murder while battling for daughter's identity shines light on a broken system. KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. In a country where identity is the gateway to rights, 42-year-old Senzo Seal paid the ultimate price for something most parents never imagined they'd have to fight for: official recognition of his daughter by the state. Hailing from the quiet community of Mzumba on the scenic south coast, Seal's life came to a violent end in Chatsworth, far from home, and in the middle of a personal crusade to give his child the legal identity she had been denied for more than a decade. Senzo Seal was not a criminal, nor a man of political ambition. He was, as his family describes, an ordinary South African father who worked tirelessly to provide for his children, doing odd jobs, fixing things for neighbors, and offering rides when he could to make ends meet. But behind his seemingly ordinary life was an extraordinary struggle that ultimately cost him everything: the bureaucratic maze of South Africa's Department of Home Affairs. His 13-year-old daughter, who has not been named for legal reasons, had never been issued a birth certificate, a document as essential as air in today's world. Without it, she could not enroll in school formally, access public health care, or even be recognized as a citizen of the only country she's ever known. And although Senzo raised her, clothed her, and loved her unconditionally, the state required one more thing before it would acknowledge her as his child: a DNA test. For years, Seal had been in contact with Home Affairs officials, appealing for assistance. At first, he was told he lacked the proper documentation to register her birth. Later, when he returned with affidavits and witness statements, he was informed that none of it would suffice. He would need to provide scientific proof that he was biologically the child's father. It was like they were accusing him of lying, said a cousin. But he never once denied her. He's been her father since day one. The cost of the DNA test was a barrier Senzo could not easily overcome. Estimates vary, but private DNA paternity tests can cost between R1,200 to R1,800, an insurmountable figure for a man who lived hand-to-mouth, often sacrificing his own needs to make sure his daughter had food and clothing. Senzo went from one place to another asking for help, said a family friend. Churches, local NGOs, government offices. No one could give him a straight answer, and no one could waive the cost. Eventually, he made the journey to Chatsworth, reportedly following a lead about an organization that might assist in subsidizing or facilitating the DNA process. It was there, in an unfamiliar environment, that he was shot and killed. Details surrounding the shooting remain scarce, and police have not confirmed if his death was linked to any known criminal activity or whether he was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. The murder of Senzo Seal has not only robbed a family of their beloved son, brother, and father, but has left his daughter stranded in a world that refuses to acknowledge she exists. With her biological father now dead, the DNA test required by Home Affairs cannot be completed through traditional means. As a result, her chances of receiving a birth certificate have become even slimmer. She's been crying every day, said a family elder. She kept asking, "When is Daddy coming back so we can go do the test?" Now she understands he's not coming back, but she still doesn't understand why that means she can't go to school like other kids. The girl has never attended school consistently. Though some local schools previously bent the rules and allowed her to sit in on classes unofficially, she was never able to write exams or receive any formal academic credit due to the lack of documentation. She wants to be a nurse, said a neighbor. But how is that possible if the system doesn't even recognize she's alive? The family now faces an agonizing dilemma: how to obtain documentation for a child whose only known and acknowledged parent has been taken by violence. Legal experts and social justice advocates say that this case underscores a much broader systemic issue that affects thousands of children in South Africa, especially in rural and underserved communities. It's a tragic example of how rigid bureaucracy can have life-altering consequences, said Thandi Dlamini, a child rights lawyer based in Durban. There needs to be flexibility in cases where the biological parent is deceased or unavailable, especially when there's overwhelming circumstantial evidence of paternity. South Africa's laws around birth registration require that if the parents are unmarried and the mother is deceased or not available, the father must undergo DNA testing to prove paternity before registering the child. While the intent of such laws is to prevent fraudulent claims, the real-life effect has been devastating for many families who simply cannot afford or access such testing. Dlamini suggests that in cases where a parent dies while in the process of attempting to register a child, there should be an emergency intervention policy, one that considers affidavits, testimonies, and supporting documents from extended family, educators, and community leaders. Right now, the system is not designed for compassion. It's designed for compliance, she said. Since news of Seal's death broke, there has been a growing chorus of voices demanding change. Community members have held prayer vigils and marches, calling on the Department of Home Affairs to show humanity in their processes and to intervene directly in this particular case. A petition circulating online has already garnered over 10,000 signatures, urging the department to process the birth certificate posthumously, using the wealth of community support and documented history as evidence of paternity.